What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, January 3rd, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 19:30 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East, from Eastern Europe, from Asia, and from here at home in the United States. So last night, the Houthis launched another ballistic missile at Israel, and there were a massive amount of air raid alerts in central Israel. Here we have video footage coming from the Western Wall, and you can hear these very prominent air raid sirens. So this is very surreal, guys. All these attacks on Israel are now becoming a normal thing. This is the fourth ballistic missile that the Houthis have launched at Israel just in the past month. And Israel said that if the Houthis are going to continue to do this, then they're going to strike Iran. Okay, and also we know that John Kirby, the National Security Advisor in the U.S., presented plans and options to Biden for strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities if Iran tries to obtain a nuclear weapon before Trump gets sworn in. Okay, so this is very concerning. Also, there's some kind of an outbreak going on in China. We're hearing that the human metapneumovirus, or HMPV, is afflicting lots and lots of people in China. There's a state of emergency over there. Hospitals are overcrowded. So get prepared, guys. That could come here. And healthcare facilities in California, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, New York, and Wisconsin are now reinstating mask mandates. Okay, so these are healthcare facilities. We also have a massive ice storm and winter storm heading into the Midwestern United States. Some areas of Kentucky could see over 1.5 inches of ice accumulation. Okay, this is solid ice. So if you live in Kentucky, make sure you're prepared for power outages. Make sure you have a way to keep warm. Make sure you have warm clothing and a way to generate heat. Okay, get a buddy heater at your local Walmart or sporting goods store and get some propane cylinders. Those can generate immediate heat on demand. And last night, Russian and U.S. nuclear forces were on very high alert. I was live streaming and covering it. Also today, we had a lot of nuclear attack options broadcasted by the U.S., but last night, some very rare data was broadcasted on Russian nuclear war frequencies. This data is known as the CIS-128, which is thought to be a master target list for Russian road mobile ICBMs. And this data was being transmitted on 3 Russian nuclear war frequencies known as the buzzer, the squeaky wheel, and the air horn. Here's a sample of this data. So this one was on the squeaky wheel, and then on the buzzer, the same thing. And then here's the air horn. So for some reason, Russian nuclear forces were transmitting this data to their road mobile ICBMs. This is very, very concerning. And also there was some encrypted Russian voice traffic on the buzzer as well. So that's encrypted voice traffic on the primary Russian nuclear war frequency. And also last night we had one of the very powerful British radars in Cyprus activated. This is an over-the-horizon radar known as Pluto 2. and it's based in Cyprus, and it's used to detect ICBMs. And we had a bunch of nuclear attack options broadcasted today. We had 2 nuclear war command and control planes go down to the Gulf of Mexico this afternoon and this evening. We also had as many as 5 aerial refuelers off the coast of New Jersey and Massachusetts, 3 Pegasus refuelers, and 2 KC-135 Stratotankers. They typically only go out here if they're refueling either returning or departing bombers or other aircraft that are going overseas, typically bombers. What they'll do is they'll stop over here somewhere and refuel midair over New England or off the coast of New Jersey before they go to Europe or the Middle East. Here's a closer look at one of these nuclear war command and control planes, a Boeing E-6 Mercury that went down to the Gulf. 2 of them went down to the Gulf today. And they do that to communicate with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. We also had a sub-hunter off the coast of Florida doing some loops just north of the Bahamas, so that's pretty unusual and also concerning. Here's a look at those 2 Stratotankers that were off the coast of New Jersey doing loops here. Okay, so they were definitely refueling either bombers or some kind of clandestine aircraft. And before I continue with the breaking news, I just want to give a big shout out to Steve Quayle. Thank you, Steve Quayle, for sharing out my videos. I really appreciate it. Also, I want to mention to you guys something tragic that has happened in the prepping community. Some of you guys, or most of you guys, may know who NYPrepper is. Well, his son just committed suicide this past week, and he's absolutely devastated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description and in the comments below where you can leave a comment on his son's obituary and also send any kind of gifts or anything like that. But you can also head over to his channel, The NYPrepper on YouTube, and you can leave a comment showing your support and giving your condolences under his latest video where he talks about this. But head on over to either his channel or to the link and please show him some love. He's going through a very difficult time right now. And what you're looking at here is a picture of a 40-year-old man who was arrested for planting an explosive on a parked railroad car in Idaho, okay, in Payette, Idaho. This is very concerning, and this is a sign that some kind of sleeper cell operation has been activated, not sure by who, but we have all these domestic attacks going on in the last 48 hours, and I think the purpose of these attacks is to cause chaos, okay? I don't necessarily believe that this is the Chinese or the Russians or the Iranians, because if they were behind this, it would be very sophisticated and it would be targeting our infrastructure, okay? But these attacks seem to just be for the purposes of causing chaos, to wear us down and create division. 40-year-old Payette man arrested for possession of a destructive device on January 1st, 2025 at approximately 17:54 hours. Payette Police Department officers were dispatched to the area of the 600 block of North 8th Street regarding a suspicious subject who was observed near a parked railroad car attempting to light something on fire. Upon arrival in the area, officers observed fresh footprints in the snow and were able to track them to a train car where they located a suspected undetonated improvised explosive device. Officers followed the fresh prints in the snow to a camp trailer that was parked near a residence in the 600 block of North 8th Street. The suspect, identified as 40-year-old Payette resident Brent Shirai, attempted to flee from the camp trailer on foot but surrendered to Payette police officers after a short foot pursuit. Shirai was taken into custody at that time on outstanding Payette County warrants. He was later booked into the Payette County Jail on those warrants, as well as additional charges for possession of a destructive device, possession of a controlled substance, possession of paraphernalia, and resisting and obstructing officers. Due to the dangers posed by the I.E.D, the Nampa bomb squad was requested for assistance in rendering the device safe. Union Pacific Railroad was also notified, and all trains scheduled to travel through the incident site were put on standby for approximately 5 hours until the scene was determined to be safe. An agent with the FBI also responded to the scene to assist with the investigation. The Nampa bomb squad utilized their specialized robot to remove the I.E.D from the train car and later detonated the device to render it safe. Wow, so they had to use a robot and they actually detonated it. This is absolutely insane, guys. And also, in addition to that, there was some kind of an 18-wheeler in South Carolina last night that was driving around with a bomb inside. They had to shut down I-85. Here we have video footage of a roadblock on I-85 near Spartansburg, where apparently this 18-wheeler had a bomb inside. So, guys, get prepared. Be aware of your surroundings everywhere you go. Apparently, that's the 18-wheeler that had a bomb or multiple bombs inside. Absolutely insane. But be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're carrying your self-defense tools everywhere you go. Okay, always bring your self-defense tools with you because you never know when you might need them, and it's always going to be when you least expect it. Okay, and I want to remind you guys that shortly before the new year in Virginia, the FBI found the largest cache of IEDs in U.S. history. They found 150 IEDs in Virginia, so something is going on. And we also have some updates on the Trump Hotel attacker. So Las Vegas law enforcement has officially announced that Matthew Livelsberger, 37, of Colorado Springs, has been identified as the driver of the vehicle involved in the explosion outside of the Trump Hotel. Matthew Livelsberger shot himself before blowing up the Cybertruck outside Trump Tower. This is very strange. Why would he shoot himself in the head right before he was going to blow himself up? And Matthew Livelsberger was a Rambo-type patriot who loved Trump, according to his uncle. The uncle of Las Vegas Cybertruck bomber Matthew Livelsberger said his nephew was a Rambo-type patriot who loved his nation and President-elect Donald Trump. Dean Livelsberger, an Air Force veteran, said he was shocked to learn that his nephew was identified as the man who allegedly detonated a Tesla Cybertruck filled with explosives outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. He used to have all patriotic stuff on Facebook. He was 100% loving the country, Dean told The Independent. His uncle said with his training, Livelsberger would have been able to create a deadlier bomb than the one detonated outside the Trump Hotel. He loved Trump, and he was always a very, very patriotic soldier, a patriotic American, the uncle insisted. It's one of the reasons he was in Special Forces for so many years. It wasn't just one tour of duty. Livelsberger, 37, was last stationed at Camp Panzer Kaserne, just southwest of Stuttgart, Germany, where he worked as a remote and autonomous systems manager for the Army. Livelsberger had been in the Army for at least 19 years, joining the Green Berets in 2006, first as a communications specialist until 2015, working with military communication systems such as computers and radio. Given his nephew's extensive military background focused on technology and engineering and his Special Forces training, Dean appeared skeptical that Livelsberger was the sole entity behind Monday's explosion, which injured 7 people. Matt was a very skilled warrior, and he would be able to make, if it was him, and if he did this, he would have been able to make a more sophisticated explosive, Dean told the UK outlet. He was what you might call a super soldier, Dean said. If you ever read about the things he was awarded and the experience he had, some of it doesn't make sense. When he had the skills and ability to make something more, let's say, efficient, His skills were enormous. From what he had been taught in the military, he could have fashioned a bomb that would have obliterated half of that hotel if he seriously wanted to hurt others, the uncle added. Dean said that his brother, Livelsberger's father, has been married several times and has had children with multiple women, adding that he has been estranged from his brother for years. Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Sheriff Kevin McCahill said Livelsberger shot himself in the head just moments before the explosion went off on Monday morning, with his body so badly burned it was unrecognizable. Despite the damage to the body, police found Livelsberger's military ID, passport, phone, and smartwatch inside the burnt vehicle. So very, very interesting. If you look at this guy's LinkedIn, he was a communications specialist with the Green Berets. He was also an intel specialist, and he was a team leader. Okay, so that is a very accomplished, very decorated person here. Okay, and Russia has prepared target lists containing more than 160 sites in Japan and South Korea in the event of a major war, according to leaked documents. The Financial Times, which reportedly obtained the cache of 29 secret Russian military files from Western sources, said the war plans contained within came from 2013 to 2014 and bore the insignia of Russia's Combined Arms Academy, a training college for senior officers. The Financial Times said much of the presentation centered around strikes using Russia's KH-101 non-nuclear cruise missile intended to halt the regrouping of troops in areas of operational purpose in the Asia-Pacific sector should a war with NATO break out. The publication said the leaked materials largely focused on training officers for potential conflict on the country's eastern frontier from 2008 to 2014. So 160 targets in Japan and South Korea that Russia has prepared. On the sites listed, 82 were military targets, such as the Central and Regional Command headquarters of the Japanese and South Korean Armed Forces, and naval installations, the Financial Times said. However, the remaining targets are of a civilian nature, including roads, tunnels, and power plants, even nuclear power plants. The remainder are civilian infrastructure sites, including road and rail tunnels in Japan, such as the Kanmon Tunnel linking Honshu and Kyushu Islands. Energy infrastructure is also a priority. The list includes 13 power plants, such as nuclear complexes in Tokai, as well as fuel refineries. Wow, so nuclear fuel refineries. In South Korea, the top civilian targets are bridges, but the list also includes industrial sites such as the Pohang Steelworks and chemical factories in Busan. The Financial Times said one of the slides also contained Russian estimations of the forces needed to breach 2 South Korean command and control bunkers. Another slide reportedly contains precise measurements of target buildings and facilities of a Japanese radar base in Akushu-Ritu. So guys, this is very concerning, and we know Russia has been doing a lot of drills with China in that area in the Asia-Pacific region over the last few months, and Russia just signed a military pact with North Korea, okay, that states that Russia would help North Korea if they got attacked. And the U.S. has approved the sale of 1,200 AIM-120D3 and AIM-120C8 advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles and related equipment to Japan for an estimated cost of $3.6 billion. So these are the AMRAAM missiles. These are medium-range dogfighting missiles, okay, 1,200 of them. What is Japan and the U.S. preparing for that they need 1,200 medium-range dogfighting missiles? And shots were fired at a mall in Austin, Texas last night, causing momentary panic and evacuation. And there was an I.E.D. blast at a police station in Berlin, Germany on New Year's Day, which injured 2 German police officers. And South Korean police attempting to arrest the impeached president Yoon Suk Yeol have given up after a 7-hour standoff at the presidential residence with a military unit that was protecting him. As a result, it was decided to suspend the execution of the arrest warrant. South Korea's ruling party leader says the investigation of Yoon must be conducted without arresting him. So that's some good news. We don't need a civil war in South Korea. And Ukraine is developing a missile capable of reaching Moscow. Ukraine is actively working on the creation of the Trembita missile, which would have a range of up to 400 miles. And I want to quickly show you guys some interesting flights in the Mediterranean over the last 24 hours. So we've had a lot of U.S. military recon drones and sub-hunters active in the Middle East. So this is a screenshot from this evening showing 2 U.S. recon drones in the Mediterranean and a sub-hunter. Now what's interesting is one of these recon drones flew towards Jordan and disappeared from the flight tracker, and then it came back and turned its tracker on somewhere in the eastern Mediterranean. So it was flying dark over the Arabian Peninsula. Not sure where it was flying, maybe over Syria, maybe over Iraq, who knows, but it was flying dark over the Arabian Peninsula, and we've had multiple sub-hunters flying over the Middle East. And here we have 2 more sub-hunters that were active in the Mediterranean last night. We had a recon drone patrolling the Iranian coast in the Persian Gulf. And then here you can see that one recon drone that flew towards Jordan and then disappeared. We also had another U.S. Cobra Ball plane fly up to the Sea of Japan for the 4th day in a row. Now, these planes are missile detecting and tracking planes, and they're typically used to detect and track the launch of North Korean and Chinese missiles. So North Korea and China are potentially going to be testing a missile soon. And also a lot of reconnaissance activity over South Korea last night. Here you can see 6 reconnaissance planes patrolling South Korean skies. We also had a sub-hunter off the coast of the Philippines. This is actually the first time I've seen a U.S. sub-hunter looping just west of Manila for such a long period of time. We know that the Chinese are claiming this entire area as theirs, this entire section of the Pacific, okay, the South China Sea. We also had a P-3 Orion sub-hunter patrolling the southern coast of Taiwan. That's also pretty rare to see. And here we have an arrest warrant that was served to a Ukrainian national living in Warsaw. So the Polish government is now arresting and deporting Ukrainians who are living in Poland and are refusing to return to Ukraine for mobilization to fight on the front lines. So this is very interesting. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back either later tonight or tomorrow with more breaking news, and I will be in the 24/7 live stream tonight at some point, so tune in and maybe you'll catch me over there. If anything crazy happens, I will go live and monitor the situation live. But we have had a lot of nuclear attack options today. All those Russian nuclear codes and data transmitted last night. So something's definitely brewing. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.